Hi, everyone. Welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we take the time to pause and reflect on the Word of the Lord. Today I'm going to be speaking about a reading from the first book of Samuel, chapter 24, verses 3 through 21. David has a chance to end his suffering. Saul, the king who has been hunting him, is suddenly vulnerable, and David is right there. Let's listen. Saul took 3,000 picked men from all Israel and went in search of David and his men in the direction of the wild goat crags. When he came to the sheepfolds along the way, he found a cave which he entered to relieve himself. David and his men were occupying the inmost recesses of the cave. David's servants said to him, "This is the day of which the Lord said to you, I will deliver your enemy into your grasp. Do with him as you see fit." So David moved up and stealthily cut off an end of Saul's mantle. Afterward, however, David regretted that he had cut off the end of Saul's mantle. He said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, as to lay a hand on him, for he is the Lord's anointed." With these words, David restrained his men and would not permit them to attack Saul. Saul then left the cave and went on his way. David also stepped out of the cave, calling to Saul, "My lord, the king." When Saul looked back, David bowed to the ground in homage and asked Saul, "Why do you listen to those who say David is trying to harm you? You see for yourself today that the Lord just now delivered you into my grasp in the cave. I had some thought of killing you, but I took pity on you instead. I decided I will not raise a hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed and a father to me. Look here at this end of your mantle which I hold. Since I cut off an end of your mantle and did not kill you, see and be convinced that I plan no harm and no rebellion. I have done you no wrong, though you are hunting me down to take my life. The Lord will judge between me and you, and the Lord will exact justice from you in my case. I shall not touch you. The old proverb says, 'From the wicked comes forth wickedness,' so I will take no action against you. Against whom are you on campaign, O King of Israel? Whom are you pursuing? A dead dog or a single flea? The Lord will be the judge. He will decide between you and me. May he see this and take part, and grant me justice beyond your reach." When David finished saying these things to Saul, Saul answered, "Is that your voice, my son David?" And Saul wept aloud. Saul then said to David, "You are in the right rather than I. You have treated me generously, while I have done you harm. Great is the generosity you showed me today, when the Lord delivered me into your grasp, and you did not kill me. For if a man meets his enemy, does he send him away unharmed? May the Lord reward you generously for what you have done this day. And now I know that you shall surely be the king, and that sovereignty over Israel shall come into your possession." It could have been the moment. The justification was there, the opportunity was there. But David doesn't take Saul's life. The mantle was a piece of Saul's cloak, so instead he just quietly cuts a piece of that, and even that troubled his conscience. What stood out to me wasn't David's restraint necessarily, but it was his heart. When David says, "I will not raise my hand against the Lord's anointed," it's saying, I will not become someone I'm not, even if it's to protect myself. David chooses trust over revenge, integrity over being impulsive, God's timing over his own wants to relieve himself of this pain. So when David finally speaks to Saul, he does it with such humility, not triumph. This passage reminds us that faith is often revealed not in what we do, but in what we refuse to do. David's living as a fugitive. He's hiding in the caves. He's constantly on the run. And the scene taking place in the wilderness is a place of testing, of waiting. He has every human reason to react, but he understands something deeper, that God's promise doesn't need to be force. And this moment shapes David's character tremendously. So, what does this have to do with us for today? I don't think we'll be meeting anybody literally in a cave, but we might face moments where we have to defend ourselves harshly, maybe get the last word in, justify a reaction, take control instead of trusting God. So, this question really asks, what kind of person do I become when I have the upper hand? Waiting doesn't mean weakness. So, journal prompts that will go along with this passage would be, where am I tempted to act out of fear or anger or self protection? Is there a situation where I feel justified but still not at peace? And how can I choose integrity today, even when no one would blame me for acting differently? And then finally, what would it look like to trust God's timing instead of forcing an outcome? I hope that listening to the explanation of this passage was helpful to you. And if it was, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can continue to hear God's whispers.